Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Hima Dalal, and I have Miss Betty Anderson with me. Hima Dalal from Hima Dalal Integrative Health, and I had a pleasure and opportunity to work with Miss Betty for almost a little longer than a year with multiple different problems that as we kept going, we figured out what is next, what does she need, how does she get better, and in this rehab journey to get you walking more independently, to be pain-free, live the life to fullest, and enjoy your daily routine without the pain. Do you want to share your problems that we started working and then what did help you the best?
Well, I think the best that has been the help is Hima. You're right. This has been like an onion. We find one thing, then something else is able to reveal itself, and so we've sort of been doing it that way. But you had asked me to sort of write things down because it's actually been kind of a lot.
Right.
We started with a stiffness that I had in my neck. I had rheumatoid and osteoarthritis diagnosed when I was in my 40s, and I had polio when I was a baby. So I've lived with difficulties all my life, but the older I get, and I'm now 75, things just started to freeze up, things started to hurt more, things weren't working quite the way they needed to for safety as much as pain. So I told her about this business with my neck. I wasn't able to see oncoming traffic from the right as safely as I could the left. And so we started at the neck because I'd had a serious automobile accident when I was 13 and had a real bad concussion. I knew that I had neck problems from that wreck when I was 13, and so that's why the arthritis set in there. But I'm a driver since the age of 14, and to not be able to turn my head and see traffic coming safely, I knew I was not only a danger to myself but to other people. So I spoke up, and so Hima and I started working on the neck area. And then over time we realized a lot of people have trouble with their thumbs, and some people end up having surgery on them, some people don't. But she and I were just sitting and talking one day, and she was using one of her crystals, and here we are just casually talking, and she's using her crystal. And my hand went from the thumb being in this position permanently, I thought, within a matter of minutes, to being able to do this.
And how much that helped you functionally from holding that steering wheel to doing your simple brushing?
Well, it was more than that, because the difficulty from the polio was on my right leg. I hold a cane in my left hand. I am left-handed, and to be able to do this in a matter of minutes, and it didn't hurt to do it. It was a peculiar feel, never felt it before, but to be sitting and having a conversation and laughing and just seeing how she's using this crystal, it was funny, but it was joyful, and I haven't needed any adjustment since.
So I have to tell people what this crystal myofascial release technique that I have invented is. So it's an energy medicine practice that I have been using for many years, and I have learned from a Shiva yoga techniques to combine from Reiki technique to myofascial release and craniosacral therapy, and a lot of different energy medicine I have learned. But to be able to understand the anatomy and physiology as being OT, I started integrating all these techniques and came up with this crystal myofascial release technique, which has been a blessing to so many and helpful to so many. Like your scar that was putting pressure from your automobile accident, since you were 14 years age?
13 years
13 years age, we were able to release that and take some pressure off your optic nerve too, and your dizziness, and then helped with your neck pain, and same with your thumb. So this technique is very, very powerful and helpful. Some of the technique we also used for your polio legs. So do you want to talk about that?
Well, then we went through, did we want to talk about the scars and how the scars are better?
Yes, you can emphasize it.
I had something like 30 stitches from here up into here because of where the concussion is. And you can see now. Do you see it?
Hardly visible now. Yeah, very, very light. And it used to be very tight, big scar.
And I had another really big one on my arm up here. I can't show it to you today.
That's okay.
But it bulged, and now it is very flat, and the color is much less noticeable as well. So, and again, these happened when I was 13, and I'm 75, and we're doing this now. It didn't hurt. It was peculiar feeling. Now, this hurt some because of the concussion.
And then the trauma memory.
And that too. And
getting thrown from with the glass and all that. Yes, it is going to be a lot of emotional memory that you were holding.
But it wasn't, it's not painful like you've broken the skin, and it's not painful like an arthritic pain. It's just, it's a different, and because you can feel that something is improving, you start to relax in the pain instead of staying tense.
Yes,
that was another thing that was interesting.
Yeah, so the beauty of crystal myofascial release is everything happens very subtly.
Yes.
So you don't have to go through the pain or trauma again or talk about it like you're doing psychotherapy. You don't have to talk about the trauma, and very at subtle level, it just settles.
It was interesting because when I realized that this was uncomfortable, and I've had to be so careful not to hit my head here for most of my life, when I began to relax, that's when I realized the type of pain I was feeling was very different. It was changing, and by the time you finished the treatment, there was no after pain. There was not like a shadow of
so no lingering pain or soreness or
right.
So that's a good message for people to know,
because you
that
get
scar,
scared.
scar can be so old and so painful, and it just gets released.
Yeah,
and beautiful.
It's been an interesting journey. Every single time we get together, the next question is, "Oh, let me tell you what happened this time." It's really gotten to be funny, but it's all true. That's the part about it. It is miraculous, and yet it is miracle with skill, and that's what a lot of people, I think, are probably going to have trouble with. Yeah. It's not just somebody waving a magic wand. It is skill.
Yes.
And it's trust.
Yeah. Skill and combining, integrating so much together, and understanding of the nerves, understanding of the muscles, understanding the sequence of what comes first, what comes second, so you can avoid the complications and you can be safe and progress safely. That's very important.
One of the things that was a surprise to me was when you were working on my neck, and I knew I couldn't turn my head enough, and you let me put my head further down, and I knew you were going to do something you hadn't done before, but we had trusted each other enough for me to relax, and that's when you did what you did, and that's when I was able to turn my head. I could feel the tissues changing just because they were being allowed to do something they hadn't been able to do, and that was, it's a cool feeling.
Yes, and the trust, the faith, and the belief.
Yes.
Belief in yourself and belief in your therapist technique.
It
It's a
is a
teamwork.
team. It is.
Yes.
And if you don't have that, I don't think that what we've accomplished would have happened.
Yeah, I
because
can
it is a
have
team.
all the techniques in the world, but the other person has to be ready to receive, ready to get better, ready to have that motivation that I can do it
Right.
together.
Right.
Yeah.
The fact that we're about the same height, not the same weight, doesn't have anything to do with it. But I am older, and that is the fun part, to realize that this is something that I can do at my age. Oh my gosh. So it doesn't seem like age should be a barrier to trying this.
Yes.
Even if, like we've said, there are things I've never been able to do. Well, 75, I've still got, I don't know how many more years, but it's worth trying to find
It
out
is.
if I can do it.
Like
So-
I have that 103-year-old,
Yes.
remember?
Yes,
That
yes.
she still dances and
Yes.
she's independent. So yes, age has no barrier
That's
to
right.
get better.
That's right. Let's see. Let me go down here and see what else we've done. When we were working on the scars and working in the brow area, the concussion, you recognized that because you'd seen me using a cane for such a long time, because you were helping my daughter earlier, I had told her about I told Amy, of course, she knew about the polio, but she probably told you about it. So one day you wanted to see what the foot looked like, and I didn't have an arch from the beginning of my life in that foot. And over time, the big toe was standing up, which is something I understood is a common thing happening when you don't have an arch. When the polio hit, I had not started to walk. So I have never walked except on the ball of this foot.
Yeah.
And because that big toe and the tendon have worked that way, the big toe and the toe next to it had done all the work.
But you didn't have that toes going up and
No.
foot going down kind of
No,
heel toe gait.
no,
you
no,
never
no,
have that.
no, ever. The baby toe and those three toes moving along over the years started to curl under, but I've never been able to move them, and certainly not turn the foot sideways or anything like that. With the work that you've been doing, what we've done is recognize the amount of swelling that I was having here and over here.
And that chronic swelling was almost like this
Oh,
much, right?
yeah.
All the time.
And you
were-
weren't seeing it on a bad day. That was the part that interested me. This is the surgery scar where they stretched the Achilles tendon, but there was a lymph node in that side as well that you worked on. So all that swelling is gone.
Correct.
Now, if you see a scar here, that's from a childhood injury. It has nothing to do with all of this, except that by God's grace, it didn't cut the tendons by about
And
a millimeter.
after what, 70 years, 71 years, that what we are seeing as a progress. right?
Well, this is totally never seen before until the 29th of October of 2024. My life has been spent not being able to move any of those toes at all. And those little toes were curling under. Now, what I'm able to do, this chair is a terrible chair to try to do this. Not only,
Only because you are short.
yes,
Yes.
what I can do is not only lift my foot, which is unheard of in my life experience. So now I'm having to learn the experience of getting calluses on my heel.
Because you're using
Because I'm
all the
using
muscles.
it. Yes, because
Yeah.
I'm using it. And
What about curling the toes too? You can do, which you never did
well,
before.
that's the other thing I was going to show you, is that where the big toe had been sticking up, I can now curl the big toe down, and if you watch, those other toes are curling with it.
So
And
I'm gonna talk as a therapist. Why is all this so important? She was still walking, right? Why is it important? Yes, because she was falling, tripping. We need that great toe to clear the ground so you don't trip. But at the same time, on uneven surface, when you walk, you need those toes to hug the floor, and with the curling capacity,
That's
now
right.
you can get that. So you're walking, your balance, you're walking on uneven surface is
It is improved. And
right.
I'm aware now that I'm actually using some toes and not others because of the lay of the land. Now, I still have some trouble with drop foot.
Right.
And that I hope will go
Work
away.
is still in a progress.
Yes.
But to summarize, we worked on the rheumatoid arthritis. We worked on osteoarthritis. We worked on concussion, scar tissue, your visual motor cortex, your balance, your prevention of fall, and your ADLs and functional skills. And of course, you're coming 60 miles away to see me? Right, one way. And you're still able to do it. And
I'm driving.
Even today, it was a little snowy day and you made it. So that tells us that this work in progress has been a great journey. And I'm so thankful. Any message you want to give to the people about therapy, about rehab, about integrative therapy?
Well, the first thing really and truly is there is no age limit. First of all, don't give up and give in, because there is a possibility out there. I didn't say a probability because everybody's different, but it is worth it. And the concept, some people might be, maybe in America, not quite so familiar with using crystals. Well,
or energy medicine.
Or energy work. And the bottom line is, it is incredibly truthful and not hurtful. Some of the physical therapy things that they tried on me before have really been very painful and have limited me over the next few days after they would try to do that. This hasn't been this way at all.
And I appreciate physical therapy. I'm an occupational therapist. I appreciate, but in a complex situations, the sequence and the energy medicine helps to achieve something impossible to possible. Where these medical limitations are coming, we're crossing that bridge by using these ancient techniques, and we're integrating. We're not replacing anything. So I'm so happy with this journey. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you for letting it be known.
Yes.
Because this is not something to keep quiet.
Thank you.